The ocean stretched endlessly, its waves rolling against the shore like an ancient heartbeat. The late afternoon sun painted the horizon with shades of gold and amber, turning the beach into a quiet, serene escape. For Eleanor Hartley, CEO of one of the city's most powerful corporations, this was not her usual world. Her days were usually consumed with meetings, boardrooms, numbers, and expectations. But here she was, walking along the sandy shoreline with her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, whose silence spoke louder than any words ever could. Lily had been born deaf, and although Eleanor provided her with every resource available, from therapists to private tutors, nothing seemed to bridge the gap between them. Eleanor loved her daughter fiercely, yet in the silence, she often felt powerless, like a stranger to her own child. She tried learning sign language, but her packed schedule always got in the way. Every time she started, work pulled her back, and guilt settled heavier on her heart. Today was supposed to be a rare moment of connection, a simple day at the beach, away from the chaos of her empire. Lily ran ahead, her tiny feet leaving delicate prints in the damp sand. Her blonde hair caught the sunlight, a halo around her fragile frame. She bent down to pick seashells, holding them close to her chest as though each one was a secret treasure. Eleanor watched, feeling both love and longing. She wished she could hear her daughter's thoughts, her unspoken words. She wished she could be enough for her. As Eleanor sat on a nearby bench, she noticed a man not far away. He was tall, with sun-tanned skin and a rugged simplicity in his attire, just a plain white t-shirt and faded jeans. He was sitting under a large umbrella, watching a boy play with a kite. His son, she guessed. The man's presence was calm, unassuming, but something about him drew Eleanor's attention. Meanwhile, Lily wandered closer to where the man's son was flying his kite. The boy noticed her and gave a shy wave, but Lily, unsure how to respond, only hugged her shells tighter. That was when the man approached. He crouched down to Lily's level, smiled warmly, and raised his hands. Eleanor froze. The man was signing. Lily's eyes widened, the first spark of excitement Eleanor had seen in weeks. Her small hands moved rapidly, responding in sign. Her face lit up with joy as she signed back, and Eleanor's heart clenched. She felt a rush of emotions, relief, gratitude, and an unfamiliar sting of inadequacy. The man signed something that made Lily laugh silently, her shoulders shaking with glee. Eleanor rose from her bench and walked toward them, her heels sinking into the sand. "Hello," the man said when he noticed her. His voice was gentle, carrying none of the arrogance she often encountered in business circles. "I hope you don't mind. She came over, and I thought I'd say hi." Eleanor forced a smile. "Not at all. I didn't expect." Her words faltered as she looked at Lily, whose happiness was undeniable. "You know sign language?" The man nodded. "Yeah, my name's Daniel. My son, Jake, is over there with the kite." He glanced at his boy, who waved back before running along the shore. "My younger sister was deaf. Learned to sign when I was a teenager. Guess it stuck with me." Eleanor swallowed, her throat tightening. "She doesn't usually open up to people like this," she admitted softly, watching her daughter animatedly converse with Daniel. "Kids just need someone who speaks their language," Daniel said kindly, his eyes warm but not pitying. "It's not about words, it's about connection." Eleanor felt the truth of his statement strike deep inside her. She had given Lily everything money could buy, but not what she truly needed: time, patience, and a voice she could understand. She had been so busy being a CEO that she forgot how to be a mother. Daniel continued signing with Lily, letting her lead the conversation. Eleanor could only catch fragments, but she saw the ease between them, the trust that formed instantly. When Lily tugged at Daniel's hand, showing him a shell she had found, he signed back, and she beamed. Eleanor hadn't seen her daughter smile like that in months. As the sun lowered toward the horizon, painting the waves in fiery colors, Eleanor and Daniel ended up sitting together, their children playing nearby. Eleanor learned that Daniel was a single dad. His wife had passed away years ago, leaving him to raise Jake alone. He worked as a contractor, living a simpler life, far from the corporate towers Eleanor called home. Yet, as he spoke about Jake, about balancing work and fatherhood, Eleanor felt something stir inside her, a quiet admiration. "You must be doing something right," Eleanor said, glancing at Jake, who was laughing with Lily now. "Your son seems happy." Daniel smiled, though there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. "I try. It's not easy, but kids, they don't need perfection. They just need you to show up." He looked at her then, as if he could see through the polished exterior she wore. "You're here with her. That's what matters." Eleanor wanted to believe him, but doubt lingered. She confessed in a low voice, "I've failed her in so many ways. I keep telling myself I'll learn sign language, that I'll make the time. But work always pulls me back. I don't know if she'll ever forgive me." Daniel was silent for a moment, then said, "You're here now. And look, she's smiling. Forgiveness isn't something kids hold back. They just want their parents to try. Start with one word, one sign. Build from there." The simplicity of his words cut through the noise in her head. Maybe it didn't have to be perfect. Maybe it just had to be real. As twilight descended, Lily and Jake sat in the sand, building a castle together. Eleanor turned to Daniel. "Would you, maybe teach me a few signs?" His smile was gentle, reassuring. Of course. That evening, under the fading light, Daniel taught her simple signs. "Hello, thank you, I love you." Eleanor's fingers stumbled, awkward and uncertain, but when she turned to Lily and signed, "I love you," the little girl's eyes filled with tears. She threw her arms around her mother, and for the first time in years, Eleanor felt like she had broken through the silence. Daniel looked on, quietly smiling, as the ocean roared softly behind them. For Eleanor, the beach that day wasn't just an escape from her world. It was a turning point. She had come burdened with silence but left with the first fragile notes of understanding. And it all began with a single dad who spoke her daughter's language. The weeks that followed became a quiet transformation. Eleanor began rearranging her schedule, cutting back late-night meetings, and dedicating time to Lily. Every evening, she practiced sign language, fumbling at first, but slowly finding her rhythm. Sometimes, Daniel would meet them at the beach, guiding her hands with patience while their children played. What started as lessons turned into long conversations, shared coffees, and laughter. Daniel's presence was steady, grounding. He never treated her like a CEO or a figure of power, but simply as a mother trying to connect with her daughter. Eleanor found herself drawn to his sincerity, to the strength he carried without flaunting it. For Lily, the change was miraculous. Her world grew brighter as her mother began speaking her language. She no longer felt invisible. She laughed more, shared stories with her hands, and even grew closer to Jake, who treated her as an equal, never with pity. One evening, months later, Eleanor stood on the same beach, watching Lily chase the waves with Jake while Daniel stood beside her. She whispered, almost to herself, "I thought I was giving her everything by working so hard. But I wasn't giving her me." Daniel glanced at her, his eyes reflecting the twilight. "You're giving her that now. And that's everything she'll ever need." For the first time in years, Eleanor felt whole. The ocean waves no longer sounded like a distant reminder of what she lacked. Instead, they echoed the rhythm of a new beginning, a story where silence wasn't an obstacle, but a language of love waiting to be understood.